this section, we're talking about integer extension of the set of whole numbers. So if you were talking about positive integers, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative integers would be 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. 0 is an integer too, but it's neither positive nor negative. The first objective that you have is the opposite of a number, and the opposite of a number of negative, and that's also called, so the additive inverse of 47 is negative 47. Okay, for example, if you had a negative 5 and I said let's find its additive inverse, it would be changing its sign, and that's because if you put these two together you get 0. So that's why it's called an additive. Basically, it's just the opposite sign. The next thing you have is the absolute value, and the absolute value of a number is its distance from 0 on a number line, and distance is always positive, so that means the absolute value is always positive. So if I asked you the absolute value of negative 5, you're going to say that fix that really fast. You're going to say it is positive 5. So the absolute value of negative 12 would be positive 12. And the absolute value of 4 would be positive 4. And the absolute value of negative 220 would be positive 220. So basically the absolute value is just the positive. So the absolute value of 1213 is just 1213. Okay, then they talk about the number line. It says use the number line to find the value of the integer. So this starts at 0 and it moves over 2 places. So the value of the integer here would be 2. A little bit more about number lines in just a moment. But when you have a number line, it has arrows on both ends, and that means it goes to infinity. So if you started here at 0, you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it keeps going forever and ever and ever. And the way that we write forever and ever and ever is this symbol infinity. It also goes in this direction, which is our negative direction. So it goes 0 and then negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so forth. And it goes in forever and ever in this direction, so that goes to negative 3. Okay, your textbook talks about a manipulative called colored counters, and they're little discs that the students can use. Usually they're yellow and red, or maybe yellow and black. And so I gave you a video of that in the module lesson that you can see. Okay, so I ask you to add the integers. So some of you just know that 2 plus 4 would be 6. Okay, so that's a good thing to know. But remember, your students aren't always going to know that. So if the way that you can show them on the number line is you can start here at 0 and you can go over to 2, and then you can go over 4 more places. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's where you would be on the number line. So let's say we had the next one, 7 plus a negative 3. So I'm going to start at 0 and I'm going to go over to positive 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's where I am first. And then it says negative 3. Well, negative 3 goes in the opposite direction. So that means I'm going to backtrack from here and go 1, 2, 3. And so my answer for this one is going to be 4. 3 places. So if you started at 7 and you go back 3 places to the left towards the negative numbers, you're going to end up at 4. Oops, let me put that 4 back up there. That's how you would show it on the number line. Maybe you need the number line, maybe you don't, but one day your students are going to see the number line, so we want to make sure that you're familiar with it. And then you have a negative 4 and a negative 2. Okay, so if you start at 0 and you go over to negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go 2 places in the negative direction, 1, 2, that's going to put you at negative 6. They're the same sign, so you add and keep the sign. Okay, so then they expand this to do a couple of little word problems, and they're talking about at mail time. You know, when you get your mail, at the end of the day, when you get your mail, you either have, hopefully, you have some letters in there that are fun, but more than likely you have bills and you have checks. And so they call this mail time problems. So in the first one, it says you receive a bill for $12 and a refund check for $23. Are you richer or poorer when you check the mail, and what is the net effect? Okay, so here's how bills work. Bills, of course, take away money, so that would be a negative 12, and checks add money to 23. So if you were looking at that part, you were saying a negative 12 plus 23. You could put it on the number line, but that would be a little tough. So if you take this result and you have a positive 23 and you take $11 left over, so that's a good thing. That means you're richer now, and your net result is $11. At mail time, you receive a bill for $70. Are you richer or poorer when you check the mail, and what is the net result? Okay, so this time your bill is $75. So that means you're going to deduct $75. And your check this time is $60. So that means you're going to add $60. Okay, so when you subtract these out, you have a 5 and a 1. So you have $15. But is that $15 to the good or $15 that you owe? Well, since this one was the bigger one, that means you're going to owe more than you take. So you're going to be poorer at the end of the day, and your net result is that you owe $15. Okay, and so you could also think of it as a negative 15 balance. And this is one way to teach positive and negative, maybe not with bills and checks, but if you could think of it in terms of money, like if you had $1 and your milk at breakfast cost 30 cents, how much do you have left? And when you talk about money, that's your students sometimes follow that a little bit better than just signs. Okay, let's go back. Seeing how much time I had. There we go. Let's go back. And I think I want to end it there.